The following gaming review and/or tips video may contain spoilers. Hail, good viewers and listeners in! When it came out at the start of the year, Resident Evil 7 was praised as a return to the series' roots, but it sparked a lot of controversy with an apparently redesigned version of everyone's favorite roid monkey, Chris Redfield. He not only looked completely different, but it also switched allegiances and was working for the shady Umbrella Corporation. The game's developers originally stated that the reason for the change was to make the character more realistic looking to better fit in with the new series direction. Later, amid fan backlash, they seemingly backtracked and implied that this isn't really Chris at all. Being a longtime fan of the series and lover of the boulder-punching HGH version of Redfield, I was one of the many people disappointed by this supposed new direction for the character. A free DLC titled Not a Hero promised to set the record straight as to who this Redfield guy really is, and after nearly a year of waiting, it's finally been released. So will our beloved Juicer make a triumphant return, or has he been forever replaced with a more focused group-friendly corporate shill? Well, let's dive right in and find out! Post-haste! If you read the title of the video, you probably already know the answer, but before I air my grievances, let's talk about the DLC on the whole. The gameplay is more action-oriented than the Resident Evil 7 campaign. Despite his new look, Chris still loves punching shit just as much as ever. In fact, the new stagger mechanic is probably the highlight of the whole DLC. The enemies are still just as easily discouraged as in the main game, which kind of kills their otherwise intimidating presence. Oh shit! Oh, he gave up. I guess this area is out of his jurisdiction. The two puzzle sequences, if you can even call them that, are laughably simple, and there's not much in the way of scares. In fact, I only shit my pants once during the entire playthrough, which is an all-time low for me in a horror game. You're playing dead, aren't you? Can't fool me! Oh, fuck! The graphics are still excellent, but are brought down a bit by a lot of areas which have spore clouds or require night vision, murking up the visuals. Nearly the entire DLC takes place in the mine area from the end of the main game, which I personally found to be the most boring of all the settings, and it's no better here. If you're looking for clever writing to wrap up the loose ends from the main story in an interesting way, you ain't gonna find it here, Tony. Overall, it's an average experience at best, which doesn't really add much to the standard game at all, but as a free DLC, I can't complain. What I will complain about, however, is the aforementioned unnecessary redesign of Chris Redfield. What bothers me isn't the fact that they redesigned the character, it's the reason they did it. It's not like they haven't redesigned Chris Redfield before, but back then it felt like they did it to match the tone of the new games. It makes sense that you'd want a beefier version of the character if you're gonna have him doing superhuman shit. Well, this supposedly new version still behaves the same way as he did in those games. He's still punching shit and acting like a roider. The new voice actor even sounds similar to the old one, so why redesign him at all? Well, they said it was because the roider Redfield wouldn't fit in with the tone of the new game. Fair enough, but did you have to completely change his face? And why change his hair color? Would dark hair not have fit in with the new game? I'm sorry, but I don't buy that bullshit for a second. I believe they were just trying to stir up some controversy to get people talking and give the game a longer shelf life. I mean, if you just wanted him to be more average looking, why not go back to the way he was before he started his cycle? Did you have to make him look like such an emo hipster? This Chris would be more at home in an episode of Riverdale than a Resident Evil game. He just looks like a pussy, which is most pronounced when he's trying to appear angry or intimidating. He's not believable in the tough guy hero role. In fact, I think he would have been better suited to being a villain. And that's another thing. Why is this called Not a Hero when this is clearly meant to be the same old heroic Redfield? Obviously, this is another PR stunt to further fuel the flames of controversy. Sacrificing a long-running character just to get people talking about your game is a scummy move, and it isn't going to make your most loyal longtime fans happy. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Chris Redfield is some untouchable, iconic character, because he's not. It's just the way this was handled feels completely lazy, and that's my main problem. Starting over with a character or story is what untalented writers do when they can't figure out how to bridge the gap between old and new. They use the excuse that it's being reinvented to appeal to new fans. Well, what about the old fans? The ones that have been supporting your product from the beginning? Here's a news flash for all you media copyright holders out there. When you do away with the characters we know and love, you take away any reason to get invested in the new ones, because in all likelihood, they too will be discarded or changed once the marketing department deems them no longer relevant. As soon as Reuters come back into style, you'll just toss Riverdale Redfield in the trash too, so why the hell should I care about him? The worst part about this whole stunt is that it wasn't even necessary. The game was already given positive attention for going back to the series' survival horror roots and was pretty much universally recognized as a good game. All they've seemingly done with this new Chris controversy is piss off longtime fans. It certainly didn't make me want to buy any additional DLCs for the game, and I'm not looking forward to playing as this bland new character again anytime soon. Phew! All this complaining's worn me out. I'm gonna go take a nap and dream of the good old days back when it was still cool to do roids and punch boulders. Till next time, fare thee well, f***ers! If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment and a like. It helps us get more exposure on the YouTubes. And while you're at it, why not subscribe? We put out shit like this every week.